Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Treen, and every week I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things intuition. Through personal stories, experiences, and practices, offering energetic reflections to help you discover, connect, and fully realize how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello. Welcome. How are you doing? How has your week been? Your year been? Whenever you're listening to this. But if you're listening to this in March 2022, then you realize now that this is the second podcast episode of this week. And I felt really called to record another episode. The episode that I put out on Tuesday was quite tender. It was very close to my heart, speaking about the grief that I was going through, how my heart was healing. And then I shared, if you didn't make it through the whole episode yet or haven't listened, at the end I read something I wrote for Bo, my cat, and for really everyone who has ever loved a pet or loved anyone. And I also shared a song, not my own song, but a song by Nat King Cole called Nature Boy that inspired me to write what I wrote for Bo. So if you haven't listened to it, I have received some really lovely feedback that it touched a lot of hearts. So yeah, feel free to go back and listen to that. Just a little reminder. And I also want to remind everyone that I have so many free meditations on my podcast as well. There's grounding meditations, helping to reclaim your energy meditations. One of the most popular ones was my Clarity of Purpose meditation, guided meditation that was at the end of December. So yeah, if you're looking for some free support, go back and try out those meditations because they are really effective for me and then also for the people that have told me that they've really enjoyed it. So yeah, I think it's important to remember that there are a lot of free resources, that this podcast is free, that those meditations are free. Google. You can really research to your heart's content on all the things that you're interested in. Because sometimes I feel like we can feel quite limited in what is available to us, what we can do. And it can feel like investing, spending money is like a barrier to a lot of things. And by taking advantage of so many free resources out there, I really feel like that helps us to remember how much we do have, how much control we have over our lives and over the things that we want and do and our desires in all of those things. So yeah, just a little reminder. But today, I really wanted to talk about signs. Signs from the universe, from God, from your inner guidance, outer guidance, all of the things, however you like to refer to it, however you think about it. That's all that matters. And I wanted to offer my own experiences with signs. A few that, have come to my mind over the past couple of days. And when I was thinking about them, I realized, this could be helpful for anyone who's listening that wants validation on signs that they are already receiving, or if you're looking to kind of find signs to help you in your life and on your path. And this is all from my experience, what I have understood for me personally. And as always, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, take what you need, and leave the rest. But if you have listened to my Following My Purpose episodes, You may have heard me speak to the numbers that I receive as a sign. And they're always 4s. And just as I was saying that, I have been talking here for 4 minutes and 44 seconds, which is lovely. So for me, even that very quick sign of the time signature, which signature is a long form of sign, even from that little one, it shows me that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing in this moment, right now. And my intuition validates that for me because it's a feeling inside. It's a feeling of knowing that that's a sign for me. But when you get into asking for signs, looking for signs, the reason I wanted to talk about it was because I have a little bit of a different point of view. Because I have seen and heard some people kind of get stuck on, where is the sign coming from? Is it actually a sign? What does it mean? Does it mean what I think it means? Kind of a spiral out of what a sign is really meant to do, which I believe it is meant to offer kind of that cherry on top of the sundae of you already trusting your intuition, that you're already listening to it. So the sign is that extra gift, almost rewarding you for following what you already knew. So it's validating it. And then at the same time, it's validating you trusting yourself and your intuition. Because any of those signs, from what I understand and have experienced, are all connected to you. Because we are connected to everything. So there's nothing that you're missing if you are really taking care of listening to yourself. But because, I'll speak from my experience, because I am a human being who has struggled with anxiety and indecision and distrust in myself, it can be really difficult for me to choose something, choose the action based on what I want and my desires. It can be difficult for me to really do it. And it doesn't mean I don't do it, because I've done a lot of things. I created and create a lot of things that are not necessarily out of some kind of handbook. With my business, with this podcast, with the way that I offer Reiki and in my intuitive Reiki, it's all a little bit different than the norm, even if something like that can be called normal. And what I really mean by that is traditional or common, because as we know, what is normal? But it's just in my vocabulary. So when I started to really trust my intuition, when I went through my years of deep healing and continued to heal, I realized that signs were very helpful to me. Oh, and then another one more caveat on that is, are the signs real? Is it real? And I will say, from the deepest level of my heart, that it doesn't matter. That it really doesn't matter whether it's real. Because if it's something that is helping you and that you're experiencing, then it's real enough. Because the minute that we try to intellectualize or figure out these little beautiful gifts and rewards, this connection that we have through our intuition and through everything, then I feel like we've missed the point entirely. The intention of a sign is to offer us more trust in ourselves to continue to do what we feel we need to do or feel called to do. So I find that asking and looking for signs is the most important when we begin to realize that there is something we're meant to be doing in our lives and with our lives, but it's really challenging to get any clarity on what that one thing or two things or three things are. And one way I like to look at it is when asking for signs, it's really based on our intention. So one of my intentions from when I found Reiki and started training in it, before I found it, I had an intention of finding my purpose, part of it, finding something that I could do for work that I loved. Because I felt very strongly in my being that that was possible. Even though around me, even though that was not the consensus around me, it was almost sarcastic. Like, oh, sure, find something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That was usually the first quote at a corporate meeting on somebody's, PowerPoint presentation. And I would look around me and I would see that most of the people were working, but always waiting and talking about the next vacation they were taking, how many vacation days they have now, how long they've worked for the company, so that's how much they get to take off. The ones that were rolling their eyes at all of the initiatives and all the things. And that just made me feel like I was totally naive, that I had some kind of pipe dream, that I just wasn't being mature or grateful for what I had and what I was being paid and what I was able to do and what I was getting to do. Because so many other people were so much worse off than I was. But everything I just said, that wasn't how I felt. That's how other people felt about what I was doing. So whenever I kind of looked outside of myself to people in my work and my community, they wouldn't really understand where I was coming from. There wasn't really a belief that you could kind of do something else. Because how could you go back? You've already been working for 15 years. What on earth would you be doing where you could get paid the same? Like, it was always about how much you're getting paid for what you're doing. That's why they call it work. That's why they pay you for it. It's supposed to not be fun. It's supposed to not be fun. I know now that for me, my work has to be heart-centered. It has to be pretty fun for me to enjoy my life. But not everyone is like that. That's why the purpose part is not always linked to your career. But I do feel like most of the listeners, and if you are listening to this and relating to what I'm saying, it's probably because we have a similar kind of energy that way, a similar experience, that maybe you too feel like your work needs to kind of be linked with you and your life, that it can't be compartmentalized. that you, like me, have a need to feel satisfied and fulfilled in my work. Just as much as I need to feel satisfied and fulfilled in my personal life. I can't have them be separate, or else I'm not being true to myself. And because I didn't have that outside support, and I was getting kind of the opposite of what I was looking for, I really felt called to ask for a sign. And at that time, I was already making sure to put time aside on most days to meditate, to tune into my intuition. I was utilizing those float tanks because it was really hard for me to cut out all of the noise. So those helped me to focus. And because of that, I knew what my intention was. It was to find the path to follow so that I could really feel satisfied and fulfilled in my work. So there was no specifics, but the feeling was very obvious to me of what I needed, what I desired. And the way I see that is our intention, the way we get clear on how we want to feel, on that desired outcome. That intention is actually a sign that we're giving to our intuition, to the world around us, to the universe, to God, however you want to look at it. But if we give that signal, that sign, that signature of our intention, and then we ask to be aware of the signs around us that will reward us and offer us validation for the path we're taking, then we get to use these signs as tools, as another tool of our intuition, another tool at our disposal, another way for us to continue to face our fears, to move with our fears, to not let what we think we should do get in the way of what we know we need to do. So very recently in my work, I have been creating some new things in addition to my one-on-one work and in my Reiki teaching. So there are a few things that I've been working on for a while. And one of the things I decided felt very called to change quite dramatically. So everything that I had technically worked on didn't really apply anymore, even though I'm sure, everything that we do kind of informs the next thing. So it wasn't a waste, but it was definitely a fork in the road. And I was feeling a little bit unsettled about what I had chosen. Even though at this juncture in my life and in my work, I feel pretty confident in trusting myself, on knowing what it feels like to trust my intuition. But it can still be hard to trust sometimes. So I was actually on a plane and I was on the tarmac. This was last week. And I was really thinking about this. I was thinking about it. I was writing some things. I was unsure. I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't have scrapped that. Maybe it really should be the old thing and I shouldn't do the new thing. And because I know how it feels to know the right thing to do, I could feel that my indecision was actually moving me further away from myself, further away from my heart. And that's one of my big signatures, is I can feel kind of my energy moving out, but not in a good way. Kind of searching for answers outside of myself. That's kind of how it feels. So I thought, okay, and felt, well, obviously this is just me kind of having like a trust hangover almost, going back on the things that I decided that I knew was right for me and on my path, so to speak. So I thought, sitting in that seat with my mask on, quite tired, quite tender, raw from losing my beautiful cat. And then I was actually going to a funeral as well. So it was a little tender time. But I felt it. I thought, okay, yeah, don't go back on it. Trust what you felt and trust that decision. So I felt that trust in the moment. I felt my energy come back to me. I felt my heart feel anchored and grounded. That's how I know. That's part of my trust. And then I looked out the window and there was a truck, because we were still on the tarmac. So there was a truck, and on the side of the truck was 444. And then right above the truck was another 4, that it was the 40th gate. Oh, and this is the 40th episode. So there you go. But to some, coincidence, what have you. But I know that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's the feeling. It's the knowing that I have in my intuition that those numbers, 444, are the numbers, the sign for me that I am on my path of purpose. That I am not on the right path, because all of our paths are the right path, just some are longer and some are shorter. There's different ways to get where we need to go. But I was on the path that I wanted to be on. And it made me smile because I haven't had those repeated 4s for quite a while. And the first thing I think of when I see those numbers is when I trusted myself to sign up for Reiki, even though it felt totally wild and that nobody would understand and that I would seem like a real weirdo. Even though now that doesn't really matter to me. But then it really, really, really mattered to me. But moving up to the day that I went to my first training, the 4s were everywhere, on my receipts, on the address, in the time, on the billboard, like everywhere. So my intuition was recognizing that and offering that back to me. And so it's a little bit of that magic that we have all the time. The magic of life. The magic of the energy that we exist in and that is all around us. We can speak to it. Does it matter if we're speaking to anything? No, it doesn't. The minute we try to keep figuring it out, we move further and further away from what it means to us. Another sign that has been quite prominent for me over the last few years has been a ladybug. And a lot of times, signs, whatever you choose for them to be, whatever you know, that's a sign. Or if you're asking, show me a sign, can I see a sign? Allow me to see my sign. One of them for me was a ladybug. One day I was in the depths of feelings and indecision, which is where my signs tend to come forward to me, giving me that reward, that gift for staying true to myself, my intuition. But I was feeling really in the depths of not trusting myself. And I was in the kitchen and I looked at the wall and there was a ladybug there. And it wasn't that normal to see a ladybug. And I remember feeling like, oh, that's a sign. Like this ladybug, I love this ladybug. Like it really is here to remind me that I need to continue to trust myself. But then the flip side of that is, no, Mary, it's just a ladybug. What are you doing? What are you doing? But that's the voice that I don't want you to listen to. Hopefully, it's not calling you Mary, unless your name is Mary, but you know what I mean. I don't want you to listen to that voice because, again, it doesn't matter. If it is completely affirming something that you know is healthy and right and could be amazing, a decision that you're making, then why not trust a sign that offers you that validation? Because by trusting the sign, it makes it easier to trust yourself because it's hard to go from the inside out. Sometimes we need the outside. We need the external validation. And one of the greatest things about recognizing and choosing and really being aware of signs, asking for and receiving, is that it's validating what we already know. So it is, in some ways, and in big ways, an extension of our intuition. So it's the kind of external validation that really serves us. So the first time I saw that ladybug was 2 years ago. And then since then, every time, and I document it because it always inspires me to write about how I was feeling, and I receive a lot of inspiration after I see the ladybug, my ladybug. But I have consistently received the sign of this very cute ladybug. I'm sure it's not the same ladybug, but every few months. And the wildest one was, it was actually the end of June last year, and I always take pictures of the ladybug because I love to document things with my camera, like almost everybody on the planet now. But so yes, I took a picture of it. But it was so neat because that day I had kind of been rejected in a way. I had gone through a disappointment relating to my work. Now, in hindsight, definitely wasn't a disappointment. It all worked out. But when there's something that you want and it doesn't work out the way you think it will, it's very disappointing. And I was really questioning everything. I had only been doing this podcast for April, May, June, only a couple of months. And I was questioning it. Was everything that I was putting my energy into, did it even make any sense? Was it doing anything? Again, at the depths of some distrust in myself. And I remember I was sitting on my bed, and that's where I usually journal. I have my journals on my side table. And I looked to this right, and it was, actually I have the time. It was June 27th, 2021 at 9:09 a.m. And there was a ladybug. There was the ladybug on my journal, just hanging out. It was the first time it was in my bedroom. And the feeling that I got from it was so lovely because I had received this ladybug as a sign before, regardless whether it is a real sign, quote unquote. What does it mean? It doesn't matter. I knew what it meant for me. That's all that matters. But it relieved me because it reminded me that I can trust what I know is true and what I should be doing, even if right away the outside world does not reflect that it is the right thing, like being disappointed or something not working out the way that I thought it should. Because we can't see everything. We can only see what we see, and we only know what we know. So that's why we need to trust our intuition. That's why asking for a sign and receiving it and allowing yourself to trust even more, it really helps. It helps. it's almost a form of prayer, the way I look at it. And then this ladybug, I continue to receive this beautiful ladybug as a sign, and it helps me to continue to trust myself and move with my fear and do things before they make sense or show me exactly the fruits of my labor. Because the good things, the things that are long lasting, the things that we want to grow over and over again, not just once, they take time. The gardening analogy is true. You don't plant a seed and then immediately get the rose bush. It takes time. So while we're in that space, that liminal space between what we want, our action to get the thing that we know we desire for our highest good, which means that it's for you, but it also is great for others. In the meantime, you can use the signs around you, for you, to continue to allow yourself to trust yourself. And then there's a whole other way of asking and receiving signs from your loved ones that have passed. And I'll do another episode on those. But I feel like there's a lot of resources out there. Laura Lynn Jackson, she has a beautiful book called Signs about messages from our loved ones. But I felt truly that, especially now, it's time to remember how to ask and receive signs so that we can do what we need to do. So we are not living our lives for other people. So we're not straying so far away from a life that we love, so that we all get to live the way that we want to. Because most of us have the privilege to, and then if we're able to, then we can help the other people that don't have the privilege to. Because if you have the privilege to live the life that you desire, you aren't helping anyone by not doing that. So if you're new to asking for signs, seeing signs, receiving signs, maybe this is a sign for you to start, or to start again if you have kind of moved away from it. And the one thing that I will say is always, 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 always important when you're working with your intuition, especially in this way. You want to document what you are asking for, what your intentions are. When you do receive it, take a picture of it, write about it in your journal, send yourself a text message about it, write it in your notes app. Really keep track of them, because the more that you work with your intuition this way, the deeper you'll be able to trust yourself. And then the more these signs just become gorgeous jewelry to your life, that they're not anything that you need because you already know. So they're just a beautiful reward, a little extra gift. And I know I only shared 2, but those were the 2 that were kind of at the tip of my tongue. And I'm sure I'll share more over the next episodes. But yeah, I think those 2 kind of showed the kind of signs that you can receive and that you're looking for. One thing that I do love is that I do have quite a few signs that are animal, kind of insect related, natural world related. And if you do, it doesn't always have to be the alive animal or insect. For me, it just makes me, fills me with joy to see the ladybug. So that's the sign, like it is a real ladybug. But for so many people, it can be a picture or somebody saying it, or you see, a YouTube video of it, or a picture of it on your Instagram. Those are also most definitely a sign too, but you will know because you'll be able to feel it in your intuition. Your intuition will tell you. And that is the point of any of these extra things that seem unreal, or are they real? These extensions of our intuition are just tools, beautiful tools to strengthen what we already know so that we can constantly remember that we can trust how we're feeling, trust what we need, trust that we know what we want and what we can do or could do, that it's all waiting inside of us. But sometimes we need the little reminders. Sometimes we need a translator. And that's what our signs can offer us. That's what I offer through my sessions and through working with me. I am able and feel so grateful and honored to be able to translate people's energy and what they're holding back to them. But recognizing that even though we have everything we need inside of us, that our intuition can offer us everything that we need and are looking for. Sometimes, most of the time, we need a little extra support. And that extra support is through our signs, through our intentions, through looking for energy healing, looking for traditional therapy, even looking into, astrology. The way I see it is all of those tools are really there to help us recognize what we already know about ourselves, to help us feel permission to be ourselves. And it seems so simple. It sounds so simple. But everybody has their own road. Everybody has their own path to be able to really be and sit and exist fully in their own power, in their own beautiful, unique energy, in their own talents and gifts, so that you can really listen to your heart, to what you are desiring, and that you will be able to trust yourself and trust in the purpose of your life, of your soul, of your heart, of your spirit, so that you can fulfill your desires and your destiny. And if me saying your destiny feels a little intense, that could also be a sign from your intuition telling you it feels intense because we're asking you to fulfill it. It's time to step on to your path. It's time to face your fears. It's time to bring your fears with you. It's time to all the cliches. It's time to shine your light. It's time to express your voice. It's time to share your authentic, beautiful self with the world. It's time. The world needs it so badly. So I hope that by looking for, asking for, and receiving those signs, it may help you to finally do it. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Intuitive Seek. Please reach out to me with any questions, or if you want to share any signs that you've received or anything that may have come up for you during this episode, you can follow and message me on my Instagram at Treenlight, TREENLIGHT, or email at hellotreenlight@gmail.com. You can also check out my website, Dreamlight.com, and all of those links are in the show notes. You can also learn more about how I can support you in my one-on-one work, and you can read about the Reiki trainings and certifications that I'm offering. Thank you so much for all of your support. Be kind to yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.